Welcome, welcome. My name is John Gabriel, and today on That Perfect Pint, we're gonna be learning about different beer styles. Now, there are hundreds of different beer styles, and this doesn't even include seasonal beers and specialty beers, and it can be a lot. So what I wanted to do is introduce you to my 6-pack, well, 7-pack actually, and kind of go into each of these 7 different beers, because I really believe that once you start to understand these 7 beers, all the other beers start to make sense. I really want to attack this not from a technical standpoint, not from how it's fermented or how it's brewed, but I really want to talk about what each different beer tastes like and what each beer goes the best with, in my opinion. So, to kick us off, the lager. Now these are at pretty much every grocery store and bar. Think Bud Light, Heineken, Corona. This is a very clean and light drink with not a lot of flavor in it, but that doesn't mean that it's not good. It can be super refreshing with super spicy food. They usually have lower percent of alcohol content compared to the rest of the beers. And that's the main reason why they're also the cheapest, the most popular, and the most likely beer that you're gonna be seeing at a house party. Now the Pilsner is a more flavorful style of the lager. It is still a very light and refreshing drink that goes really well with spicy food, but it kind of also has this like maltier flavor that goes with it. It's a little bitter, but the bitterness is kind of like a graham cracker, and it kind of has that little kick to it as you drink it, and it's just very refreshing. This is a great lager to help introduce you to different beers, especially as we go down this list and they start to become a little more bitter. This helps you understand the flavor that also comes from it. Now, if you still feel like you have some difficulty with bitter beers, then we gotta go to the Hefeweizen. Now, the Hefeweizen is a German style ale. And if you ever go to Germany, you're gonna see Hefeweizens everywhere. These guys are extremely light and sweet. It is very similar to the flavor of like a banana or a clove with a full body finish. And when I say full body, you're gonna hear me say this a lot. Full body is where it really just covers your tongue with different flavors. You can tip of your tongue, the back of your tongue, and it's like just dancing all over your tongue. Now this is the beer that was introduced to me when I started getting into beer. And once I had one of these, I started to be like, oh, now I understand what I'm starting to taste. Now I'm understanding like, it's not just bitterness cutting you in the back of your throat. Like this is actually a great flavor. And once I started to understand the way beer tastes, I started to really appreciate all the different styles of beers. All right, and now we have ales. Ales tend to have very strong malty, caramely, fruity flavors. And there are tons of ales. Ambers and browns and blondes and tripels and, well, sorry, I'm getting too excited. There's a lot of ales that kind of branch from ales. They all tend to have very full body flavors. Again, just covering your tongue with just different flavors. Because they're a heavier drink, it goes really well with like different meats. And I think brown ales are one of my favorite ales to also get introduced to ales, as it's a strong malty flavor, and again, it goes really well with hamburgers and chicken and anything like kind of heavy. Just a really good pairing. Now we got this super scary IPA, the Indian Pale Ale. Now, when you're making beer, you use fermented yeast, and that's what makes the alcohol. And when you add hops, these like tiny little flower pine cones that have tons of flavor and are very bitter. It helps counter or balance the beer so it's not super sweet and not super bitter. However, with IPAs, they go crazy with the hops because they just love that flavor, which also allows you to also sometimes use more fermented yeast to get more alcohol. So the alcohol content in IPAs can sometimes be double what a normal lager is. Wow. Now it does take time to understand this bitterness is not here to attack you. It kind of tastes like the bitterness of like an orange peel, like that kind of bitterness. But once you know that that bitterness is coming and you get ready for it, this can be a very enjoyable drink. In fact, it's one of my favorite drinks to have by itself because of how much flavor it is. And it also goes really well with any strong flavored food. And now to the dark side of the ales, the porters. Now this is the darkest style of beer we have, and these guys can sometimes have 3 times the alcohol percentage that a lager has. Now the porter is bitter, but it's not as bitter as the IPA. It kind of reminds me of a chocolate or the coffee style bitter, which a lot of us are used to. They are also a very heavy, thick drink. Think drinking bread. I usually can only have like 1 or 2 of these before I get like super full. And these go really well at a campfire because it's really, you know, it's kind of got that smoky flavor, and it also goes really well with barbecue or anything on the grill that's like very, very heavy. You know, they kind of pair together well, like heavy drink, heavy food. Now I know this goes beyond our 6-pack, but I gotta throw in the sour. Sours taste pretty much like alcoholic juice. They're typically themed around a type of fruit. Sours are a very sweet and light drink. I personally love having a sour at like a pool party or again, someplace super light. These also go really well with any type of fruit or cheese if you're eating that. And sours are also another really easy drink to get into because it's sweet and it's not very bitter, but it also has a lot of flavors that kind of, you know, dance all over your tongue. I think the biggest thing I want you to take away from this is there is no one best beer, and that each beer is offering something different to you. And I think especially during like this COVID season that we're going through, it's so important to understand the different types of beers because you don't always have a waiter or waitress to tell you what their recommendations are. And hopefully, this kind of starts you on your beer journey to kind of be able to choose the right beer for your situation. Again, are you eating spicy food? Are you at a pool? Are you at a campfire? Are you eating barbecue? I think once you start to understand what beers pair well with different things, you start to really appreciate beer, and beer becomes so much more enjoyable. Thank you so much for checking this channel out, and I'm still on my beer journey and I'm still learning. So if you guys have any questions or comments or thoughts, or if you thought I missed a beer, please let me know. I want to explore this, and as I'm exploring, I feel like I'm allowed to like share this with you guys. All in effort to finding that perfect pint.